Hi, we're from SVR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's the Monday after NFL Week 6, and we're going to do our usual Monday call with Dave Golokhov, where we find out what he learned from watching the games on Sunday. Dave Golokhov went to school yesterday, and he's going to relay to us, share with us what he learned. Dave, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, I went to school and I didn't get high during recess.
Okay, good. Yes, you paid attention. Because just because you were in school doesn't necessarily mean you learned anything. But did you learn anything this past Sunday?
Is this an metaphor? Because in actual school, I learned very little. Yesterday, we learned a lot.
All right. Well, I'll tell you two things that I didn't learn because I already knew it. Hopefully, everyone else learned it though. Is you don't bet against the Bears or Dallas when they're a road dog like that. You do bet against them when they're a home favorite. And this past week was a little bit forgivable because Seattle and Atlanta both have, supposedly a big home edge for sure. But it's just in general, again, anyone who took Atlanta, anyone who took Seattle was violating those rules. And you get burned over and over again, just like people who violated it in the Dallas game against Houston when Dallas was a big home favorite, right?
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I learned more about those games in different realms. For example, with the Atlanta Falcons, to me, that team is just tapped out. They have a good passing game with Matt Ryan, and that's about it. And that's why the Chicago Bears went there and won. I mean, the Bears, they didn't turn over the ball, a whole bunch of times. They didn't face a tough defense. I think it was easy for them. For the Cowboys, what I learned from them is that that offensive line is fantastic and the defense is underrated. I think those are the things that we should be focusing on. In terms of betting, Cowboys reliable. Bears, to me, are still unreliable.
Right.
I know you mentioned the scenarios, but to me, I think the Bears are a wild card in any spot.
Then another team, people are debating whether to bet on or against, is the Jets. And like last week, it was a huge public play. Denver, supposedly some sharp action came in on the Jets. And actually the way that game went down, it was kind of a lucky backdoor cover. Anyone who did take Denver. This week, the Jets are a 9.5-point dog at the Pats. Now, I know the Jets are horrible. Exactly how horrible are they? Exactly how horrible is Geno Smith? Not exactly sure, but do you think the Jets, are an auto fade even at these huge underdog lines?
I think the Jets, for them, I would lean towards taking the points here. Couple reasons. First of all, the Patriots are not this team that, they're not the offensive juggernaut. We've actually talked about this on this show a couple weeks ago. Yeah. They're not a team that steamrolls people and hangs, 40, 50 points on them anymore. They're happy to run the ball, move the sticks, play defensive style games. So anytime you lay big points with them, you got to really be conscious of their strategy nowadays. For the Jets, you hate betting them, but things going for them. Short week, Pats are banged up. It's a divisional game, and Rex is on his last legs. If that team has any pride whatsoever and likes playing for Rex or likes playing with Geno Smith, they're going to show up and do their best. Other than that, tough to make a case for them. But I think that's enough of a case, to be honest.
And then Cleveland, we discussed them last week, right? And I was asking, is Cleveland for real? And you gave the opinion that you think that they are, and that they were probably going to go on a run where they would cover, 2 out of their next 3 or 3 out of their next 4. And in the Pittsburgh game, of course, everyone was quoting that stat where Pittsburgh had won whatever it was, 35 out of the last 38 games against Cleveland, whatever that stat was. Cleveland got the easy win. Now, for their upcoming games at Jacksonville, against Oakland, against Tampa Bay, is Cleveland really for real? You think they're going to continue to maybe be a decent team to bet on going forward?
Yeah, and I'm not scared of road lines with this team because, look, they run the ball well, excellent offensive line. Off the top of my head, I think they're 5th in rushing. I know they're top 5, top 6, somewhere around there. That's fantastic for the Cleveland Browns. Brian Hoyer, he's their only winning quarterback, if you can believe this, since '99. He's the only guy with a winning record, and he's playing well. I mean, he's not just a clock, a caretaker, janitor, whatever you want to call him. He's actually making quality throws. And, again, going on the road, you want to have a good running game, a good defense. This team has both. Good offensive line. Jacksonville's a mess. Tampa Bay's a mess. Oakland's a mess.
Yeah.
Oakland could be tricky. I was actually impressed with what they did yesterday, but I like the Browns in all three of those situations.
You think so? I'm a believer in the Browns in general, but in this upcoming game against Jacksonville, I mean, Jacksonville did get their first cover of the year last week, and here they're going to be at home getting 4 points. I'm actually leaning Jacksonville in that one.
Well, 4 is tricky for the Browns.
Yeah.
I always hate these situations where it feels a little bit overvalued in the sense that, I mean, Cleveland is a road favorite. Is a road favorite bigger than 3?
Yeah.
I can't remember a situation like this very frequently within the last almost 7 years, I would say. So a tough spot, but I do like them here. The Jags' offensive line is horrible. Mm-hmm. This team can't run the ball. I really like Blake Bortles, but he can't do it on his own. I mean, he's getting no help from anybody around him. I would rather the Browns at about 3. But, push comes to shove, I think they're the better pick in this game.
All right, well, that's all that I really wanted to ask you about this week. What else do you want to share with us that you learned from this past Sunday in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys, I know we're circling back to something we chatted about, but I think it's worth emphasizing that the Cowboys, they're playing great not just because of DeMarco Murray, not just because of that running game, but the defense is fantastic, and I think that's what really stood out to me in this contest. The Cowboys absolutely flattened the Seahawks. The score is not indicative of how much they dominated. But what impressed me was they bottled up Percy Harvin. He was a non-factor. Marshawn Lynch, they limit, I guess you could say it's the Seahawks' own fault, but he only had 10 carries, 61 yards. Russell Wilson, some people were talking about MVP heading into this week. He was great. Remember, this is a Cowboys defense that was worst in the NFL last year in total yards. They're now up to 14th. If you subtract the Week 1 loss to the San Francisco 49ers, where they gave up, I think it was 28 points, they're allowing an average of 19.6 points per game in the last 5. That is mind-bending, considering we're talking about a Cowboys team that has suffered a ton of injuries, that was pathetic on defense last year. Morris Claiborne out for the year. I mean, this is something that's really worth mentioning, and that's why the Cowboys, to me, are worth considering for futures, for the division futures, Super Bowl, NFC, because the defense is really what's picked up the pace, and not just the offense.
All right, so you're going to be betting the Cowboys as a home fave going forward? I got you, Dave Golokhov.
Listen, big follow-up question. This week, I don't know the line off the top of my head, but they're going to be a big home favorite against the Giants. I mean, what do you think? It's got to be at least a touchdown, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I know the Giants. I mean, you can analyze their game against Philly in all different ways. We sort of knew that that's just classic Giants, right? 3 games in a row where they scored over 30 points, where they got the cover, and they're looking, really good, and then a complete dud. But now they're going into, Dallas, and they're going to be a big road underdog. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think you do have to take the Giants here. I guess I'm saying I like the Cowboys for futures, or they're at least as part of the conversation now. This week, I think you do have to like the Giants. I recall a previous conversation we had, the Chargers coming off a big win against Seattle. They were fantastic. They were, thrilled with that. And I can't remember who they went to afterwards or who they played next, but there was a letdown factor. I think you're going to see the same thing for the Cowboys. Riding high, everything's great, back at home. Of course, they're supposed to stomp the Giants. Giants looked awful last week. Victor Cruz. I could see them covering.
All right, Dave Golokhov, thanks for your thoughts. We'll talk to you next Monday.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.